Hello. Tonight we're going to talk about one of the most scariest places in Pretoria, a place called Schubart Park. Now, Schubart Park in Pretoria has garnered a reputation for supernatural occurrences, particularly after its decline and eventual abandonment. Originally constructed in the 1970s as a modern housing complex, Schubert Park faced significant deterioration over the decades, leading to its evacuation in 2011 due to safety concerns. The buildings have since stood vacant, contributing to the eerie ambience. Paranormal investigators and local residents have reported various unexplained phenomena within the complex. Accounts include sightings of apparitions, mysterious sounds, shadowy figures, disembodied voices, and feelings of unease. Some suggest that these occurrences are linked to the tragic events that transpired in the area, including a notable incident in 2008 when a fire at the nearby Kruger Park flats resulted in multiple deaths. The proximity and shared history of these buildings have led to speculation about lingering spirits and residual energies. I myself have had experiences there. And this one, my friends, is about the brown man. I've had experiences with the supernatural since I was a child, but one night I will never forget was the night my best friend Keith and I experienced something profoundly dark and mysterious. It was as if we stepped into an episode of a horror film. It was in the middle of 1998. In the winter, we were returning after a night of dancing at a local goth club near Schubert Park called Zeppelins in Bosman Street. We were quite sober as we only drank cool drinks that night. It was 2 in the morning. Usually Schubert Park felt normal, if you could call that place normal. But when we entered the apartment complex, I started to feel weird. An eerie quietness fell upon us, which was weird in mid-city Pretoria. We heard no people in the streets, no sirens. Then an emptiness came over me, a feeling of hollowness. As we turned from the entrance to go around the corner at C Block, there were about 6 or 7 cats sitting by a trash can. That feeling became stronger and stronger, and I shared that feeling with Keith. He said he felt it too, a hollow feeling. We looked at each other and then ahead. We still had to pass the shops and B Block to reach A Block, where I lived. We walked on and suddenly the cats walked to us and started to surround us, as if protecting us. One of them is a stray cat that always greeted me, that I nicknamed Malcolm. He looked me in the eyes and started to walk next to me. The hollow feeling grew stronger, yet stronger as we neared A Block. Before we entered A Block, the other cats suddenly sat down, except for Malcolm. He entered the building with us. There were 3 elevator options. Looking at Keith with unease, I pressed the button for all 3 elevators to come down. The one on the left started to come down. The other 2 stayed up on the top floor, the 21st floor. At that moment, my friend remarked, "That weird hollow feeling is becoming more intense." And I felt that too. It was as if every part of you, the air around you, sucked in. A hollowness so profound that most of you hearing my story cannot even comprehend that feeling. Trust me, you don't. Waiting for that elevator felt like a small eternity, but then, just before the elevator reached the ground floor, We realized that hollowness we felt came from that very elevator. As the elevator started to open, Malcolm the cat growled, the hair on the back of on his back spiked with fear, and he ran off. Keith and I looked at each other, paler in the face than a ghost. Midway, the elevator door stopped opening. We're not getting into that, I said to Keith and pressed the buttons for the other two elevators. Another elevator descended, and then the first elevator did something creepy. Its doors started to close, then open fully, as if someone or something stood in the doorway and prevented it from closing. It repeated that a few times while we waited in fear. We were not going to climb the stairs as there were no windows and no light on the stairs, and the night was shit scary enough already. We don't scare easily, and we both have had feelings for the supernatural. But that night we sensed that if we don't get to my home right away, we'd be fucked. We did not have to say that to each other, we felt it. And we knew that the other person felt it too. That second elevator arrived, and the first elevator suddenly closed. It felt safer, so we entered the second elevator and started riding up to the fifth floor. As we passed the first floor, there was a loud banging in the direction of the left elevator shaft, as if something or someone was angry and attacked the walls of that elevator. We looked at each other and my hand felt shaky. It was the first time I felt that degree of fear since I was a kid and faced a haunted doll. But that is another story. Then we heard a woman's disembodied, blood-curdling scream right next to us, and I prayed for the elevator to just get to the fifth floor already. We knew that scream was not human, or not a living human anyway. We finally arrived at the fifth floor, but just before our elevator doors opened, we heard the left-handed elevator's door opening. That cursed elevator stopped on my floor. Now, the floor is split into two areas, with these red divided doors with a small window leading to the apartments. Kind reminds you of a fire escape door. I had to use the one on our left as we exited the elevator. We both for some reason looked to our right. Behind the divided door window, we saw a brown man. Everything was brown, his clothes, his broad-brimmed hat, hair, skin, but he did not look entirely human, not with the very dark pits where his eyes should be. And he looked pissed. I was probably the fastest fat man alive in that moment. We ran to my apartment, unlocked the door, slammed it shut, and suddenly felt safer. We sat in silence on my bed for about half an hour, not saying a word, just feeling gratitude that we somehow survived a very, very extremely supernatural experience. Then we started talking, comparing notes. We had experienced everything exactly the same. Whoever the brown man entity was, whatever the emptiness was, I don't know. But one thing I do know, evil exists, and I have looked it in its ugly, bottomless pit eyes, and somehow I'm still alive. And you, if you one night walk in the street and there's this feeling of emptiness, if you somehow suddenly have cats guarding you, and if you see a brown man with black, bottomless pit eyes, please, for the sake of sanity, run as fast as you can. Go home, because I think Home is where you are safe. Be safe out there, my friends, and thank you for listening to my story, and it's a true story.